Hey folks, Crazy Climber 80 here again, and we're going to look at another Nintendo versus arcade game, and this is the world famous Tetris, and this is the versus version, versus Tetris. This was originally created by the Russian Alexey Pazhitnov, and this version, there's the versus cabinet, is created by Academy Soft-Elorgy. I don't know how that's pronounced, but also by Atari and Tengen, which developed a number of Atari games for the NES. And this is a fairly dull version of Tetris, I think. The one that was more commonly seen in arcades was the one just with Atari's trademark on it, and that was in 1988. And this is like the NES version, but it's far less interesting and less dynamic. There's no special effect when you make a line of shapes, and the shapes themselves are just kind of dull. But as with the other versions of Tetris, you see the next shape that's going to appear in the top left. One thing I do like about this version is that you can play two-player cooperative, and you share the same well, and you drop the same pieces. You drop the same pieces and try to help each other score-wise. And there is two-player competitive, in which you just try to outscore your opponent, or keep from dying before your opponent does. And we'll take a brief look at the other versions. And then there's also just you versus the computer. But yeah, this is pretty dull in that there's no special effect of the lines disappearing. They just disappear. I do kind of like the stats showing how many of which type of pieces have fallen. You know, on the right side there. But yeah, this is a pretty dull version of Tetris. I greatly prefer the Atari arcade version. I do not recall if I've seen this version in the arcades. I don't think I have. I don't think I've played the NES version of Tetris. I have definitely seen the Atari arcade version of Tetris. But yeah, this is fairly underwhelming compared to the Atari arcade version. And I think I've seen pictures of the NES version, or some video of the NES version, and it looked more interesting than this. Something else that's stupid is you don't get a lot of extra points for lines, or multiple lines, which is dumb. See, you can choose one-player, two-player competitive, or two-player cooperative, and you get to choose which level you want to start on. If you start at 0, you don't get a score worth jack. So really you want to pick one of the higher levels so that you can actually get a somewhat okay score. See, I've only scored 4 points thus far. You only get 2 points by putting a piece in place, but you get more points the higher up the structure that you're building. The higher up it is, the more points you're going to get for just dropping the pieces into place. And yeah, it's kind of stupid that you don't get extra points for simply getting lines. Well, as I go up levels, then the point value increases. Yeah, I'm pretty underwhelmed by this version here. Like I said, I don't recall if I've seen the Versus version in arcades. This, I believe, was created in 1987. The Atari arcade version was 1988. I think the NES version was like 1987, but it was originally created in, I think, 1986 by Alexey Pazhitnov. Definitely one of the all-time great puzzle games, if not the greatest. I remember when it was just starting to become popular in America. The music's okay, but I think this is just generally an underwhelming version of... an underwhelming version of Tetris. This version seems to maybe get more red pieces than some of the other versions of Tetris, which is very helpful. The key to doing good at all in Tetris, oops, that was clumsy, is knowing which direction the pieces rotate when you turn them. And knowing what way they will turn when you do rotate them. But yeah, if you choose the easiest version, or the easiest level to start on, you're not going to get jack for points. And now I've gotten up to the 4th level. There's easy, which is 0, and that just gives you 1 times score of the points for the pieces. Level 1 is 4 times score. Level 2 is 8 times score. 3 is 16 times. 4 is 25. 5 is 36. 6 is 49. 7 is 64. 8 is 81. And 9 is the hard level, and that gives you 100 times score. Oops, game over. I will play again with a higher degree of difficulty, so I'll get more points this time around. And again, I'll play 1 player versus the computer. But again, this version was created by Academy Soft-Elorgy, whatever that means, and Atari and Tengen, I believe. And now we'll start on the 8th level and get far more points. But yeah, this is a fairly dull version of Tetris. The Atari arcade version is kind of cool because it has a theme of a Russian dancer, and depending on how well you do, you can make him dance. You can make there be a little show where he gets pulled away off stage by a cane. Kind of funny. Come on, where's that red line? There it is. And there's a nice big Tetris, which I should have gotten, at least some indication or some kind of fanfare or something, like a big explosion or something of those lines disappearing, and I get nothing. Just really underwhelmed by this version of Tetris. I mean, it's not unplayable, but just kind of blah. Well, I'm almost done with the Versus games. There's only like 2 more. There's a number of other ones that were released, but they're not available in MAME. Oh crap, I didn't mean to do that. Whoops. There's that. Well, didn't really help me as much as I'd hoped it would. There we go. But yeah, this is the versus version of Tetris. Oh, there we go. That's what I meant to do. And again, it was created by a company called Academy Soft-Elorgy. Whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. Originally, Tetris was created by the Russian Alexey Pazhitnov. It became a worldwide smash. Not immediately in the US, but definitely immediately in Russia. Oops. Kind of panicked there. Oh well. The game doesn't start with actual high scores. You can just get your score put in because it's default 0 for the high score. Well, here's a look at the this is 2-player competitive, and you already know what it is. It's just 2 players playing against each other, trying to outscore each other there. And now we'll have a quick look at 2-player cooperative. But yeah, you share the same well, and you try to you still score separately, but you're trying to help each other get lines in this well. And I think that's a really cool idea. Otherwise, I think it's kind of a bland version of Tetris. But yeah, I don't remember if I saw this in the arcades, this version. Definitely remember the Atari 1988 version. There's a Tetris there, or a line. Well, that was Versus Tetris by Academy Soft-Elorgy and Atari and Tengen in 1987. Well, this is Crazy Clam Radius, and thanks for watching Versus Tetris. I will catch you later in the future with another Versus game. See you then, folks. Bye-bye.